We live? All right, it's been a minute. I thought we did chapter 14 already, but I might have lost my bookmark. Oh, I need to fix the title. What's the title say? Yeah, really pretty much the same. He's still going to be recapping Leviticus. We didn't do much the other day. What's up, John? What's up, John Newsom? John Newsom. We're just going to get right into it. I have a lot of catching up to do. I didn't do anything yesterday because it was sunny outside. It's getting nice and sunny outside, so I took Echo to the park after work. Instead of, because I didn't go to the gym, because I just made a big bowl of tuna salad and brought it to work. And there was a sign on the refrigerator that said, "We're cleaning the refrigerator out tomorrow. If you leave anything in here, it's going to get thrown away." So I had to take my tuna salad home the next morning, so I couldn't go to the gym because I don't want to leave tuna in a locker for an hour and a half. So I just came straight home, and then I was here early, and I was like, it's nice outside. I'm going to take Echo to the park. All right, guys, let's get into this. Deuteronomy 14. We're still recapping Leviticus. So there's going to be some of your we're going to go through the clean and unclean meats again. Good choice, never leave your tuna in a locker. Yeah, that would not have been good. All right, Deuteronomy 14. Let's try to get through a good chunk of this today because it's been a minute. I've taken some days off. Chapter 14. Ye are the children of the Lord your God. Ye shall not cut yourselves, nor make any baldness between your eyes for the dead. For thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy God, and the Lord hath chosen thee to be a peculiar people unto himself, above all nations that are upon the earth. Thou shalt not eat any abominable thing. These are the beasts which ye shall eat, the ox, the sheep, and the goat, the hart, and the roebuck, and the fallow deer, and the wild goat, and the pygarg. Pygarg is... Where's the note for one at? Pygarg. It says either 1 or L. Joshua 22:11. Antelope. Pygarg is an antelope. And the wild ox and the chamois. And every beast that parteth the hoof and cleaveth the cleft into 2 claws, and cheweth the cud among the beasts that ye shall eat. Nevertheless, these ye shall not eat of them that chew the cud, or of them that divide the cloven hoof, as the camel and the hare and the coney. For they chew the cud, but divide not the hoof. Therefore they are unclean unto you. And the swine, because it divideth the hook, yet cheweth not the cud, it is unclean unto you. Ye shall not eat of their flesh, nor touch their dead carcass. These ye shall eat of all that are in the waters. All that have fins and scales shall ye eat. And whatsoever hath not fins and scales, ye may not eat it. It is unclean to you. Of all clean birds ye shall eat, but these are they of which ye shall not eat: the eagle, and the ossifrage, and the osprey, and the glede, and the kite, and the vulture after his kind, and every raven after his kind, and the owl, and the nighthawk, and the cuckoo, and the hawk after his kind, the little owl, and the great owl, and the swan, and the pelican, and the gyre eagle, and the cormorant, and the stork, and the heron after her kind, and the lapwing, and the bat. And every creepy thing that flieth is unclean unto you. They shall not be eaten. But of all clean fowls ye may eat. Ye shall not eat of anything that dieth of itself. Thou shalt give it unto the stranger that is in thy gates, that he may eat it. Thou shalt give it unto the stranger that is in thy gates, that he may eat it. Or thou mayest sell it unto an alien. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. Thou shalt not seethe a kid in his mother's milk. Thou shalt truly tithe all the increase of thy seed, that the field bringeth forth year by year. And thou shalt eat before the Lord thy God in the place which he shall choose to place his name there, the tithe of thy corn, of thy wine, and of thine oil, and the firstlings of thy herds and of thy flocks, that thou mayest learn to fear the Lord thy God always. And if the way be too long for thee, so that thou art not able to carry it, or if the place be too far from thee, which the Lord thy God shall choose to set his name there, when the Lord thy God hath blessed thee, then shalt thou turn it into money, and bind up the money in thine hand, and shalt go unto the place which the Lord thy God shall choose. And thou shalt bestow that money for whatsoever thy soul lusteth after, for oxen, or for sheep, or for wine, or for strong drink, or for whatsoever thy soul desireth. And thou shalt eat there before the Lord thy God, and thou shalt rejoice, thou and thine household. And the Levite that is within thy gates, thou shalt not forsake him, for he hath no part nor inheritance with thee. At the end of 3 years thou shalt bring forth all the tithe of thine increase the same year, and shalt lay it up within thy gates. And the Levite, because he hath no part nor inheritance with thee, and the stranger, and the fatherless, and the widow, which are within thy gates, shall come and shall eat and be satisfied, that the Lord thy God may bless thee in all the work of thine hand which thou doest. So those are the kosher laws. Again, just we're just rehashing Leviticus still. We've learned all this already, but Moses is they're just outside. They're just about to cross the Jordan River. Moses knows he's about to die. He's giving his final speech to the Israelites before Joshua takes over and leads them across the Jordan River into the land of milk and honey, the promised land. Where they get to go to war with an angel and wipe out giants. Giants riding on dinosaurs. All right, chapter 15. This is lending to the poor. Lending to the poor. So not just giving to the poor, but lending to the poor. And no usury. You don't get to charge them interest. Chapter 15. At the end of every 7 years, thou shalt make a release. And the year of Jubilee. The year of Jubilee is every 50 years, but every 7 years or every 50 years. And this is the manner of the release. Every creditor that lendeth aught unto his neighbor, lendeth out unto his neighbor, shall release it. He shall not exact it of his neighbor or of his brother, because it is called the Lord's release. Of a foreigner thou mayest exact it again, but that which is thine with thy brother thine hand shall release. Save when there shall be no poor among you. For the Lord shall greatly bless thee in the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee for an inheritance to possess it. Only if thou carefully hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all these commandments which I command thee this day. For the Lord thy God blesseth thee as he promised thee, and thou shalt lend unto many nations, but thou shalt not borrow, and thou shalt reign over many nations, but they shall not reign over thee. Do not borrow. That's important. See, this is why I don't believe in credit. I don't have a credit card. I don't believe in credit. Yodel. What up, Thoth Mage? You should not borrow. Borrowing's beta. But you can lend, but you got to release your debts after 7 years, and you can't charging crazy interest. That's called usury. Usury is forbidden. If there be among you a poor man of one of thy brethren within any of thy gates in thy land which the Lord thy God giveth thee, thou shalt not harden thine heart, nor shut thine hand from thy poor brother. But thou shalt open thine hand wide unto him, and shalt surely lend him sufficient for his need in that which he wanteth. Beware that there be not a thought in thy wicked heart, saying, the 7th year, the year of release, is at hand, and thine eye be evil against thy poor brother, and thou givest him not, and he cry unto the Lord against thee, and it be sin unto thee. So now this is specifically talking about their brothers. It's not just, maybe it will say it here shortly, but it's not saying just give stuff away to the strangers and the sojourners or even the Levites, but to your brothers. God doesn't want poor people in his kingdom. So he's saying, give unto your brother. And this is not like government ordained taxing. This is charity, giving out of the kindness of your heart with charity. But like an analogy for where it says to your brother in Christ. Well, this is pre-Christ, but you know what I mean. Your brother in God, two brothers of the same father. You give to them so that they're not suffering, but that doesn't mean you got to give money to every homeless person you see on the street with a sign saying I'm hungry. Knowing darn well they are not hungry. There's plenty of food shelters. They're overweight and they're going to spend that money on drugs. You don't got to give money to every homeless person on the street. Is that nice? Is it nice? I think it's nice to feed the homeless, to set up a table, give them some pizza, give them clothing, stuff like that. But just giving money to the guy on the corner, that money is going to go to drugs 99.9% of the time. So you're not helping them. You're enabling them. Just resting 1 to 2 years before I start college. Why would you go to college? No, I'm kidding. Go to college. Go to college. Your mom went to college. Thou shalt surely give him in thine heart. Oh, and it also says, don't be thinking, oh man, it's almost the year of Jubilee. I got to release my debts next year. So I don't want to give anything to my poor brother because he's going to get out of it. Don't do that. You shouldn't even really do it expecting anything back. Thou shalt surely give him, and thine heart shall not be grieved when thou givest unto him. Because that for this thing the Lord thy God shall bless thee in all thy works, and in all that thou puttest thine hand unto. For the poor shall never cease out of the land. Jesus says this too. The poor will always be among us, is what Jesus says. Therefore I command thee, saying, thou shalt open thine hand wide unto thy brother, to thy poor, and to thy needy in thy land. And if thy brother, an Hebrew man or an Hebrew woman, be sold unto thee, and serve thee 6 years, then in the 7th year thou shalt let him go free from thee. And when thou sendest him out free from thee, thou shalt not let him go away empty. Thou shalt furnish him liberally out of thy flock, and out of thy poor, and out of thy winepress. Of that wherewith the Lord thy God hath blessed thee, thou shalt give unto him. And thou shalt remember that thou wast a bondman in the land of Egypt, and the Lord thy God redeemed thee. Therefore I command thee this thing to this day. So if you buy a Hebrew slave, if there's some other tribe and they've captured Israelite slaves and they're selling them, buy them, let them work to pay off their debt, and then free them, set them free. And it shall be, if he say unto thee, I will not go away from thee, because he loveth thee in thine house, because he is well with thee, then thou shalt take an awl and thrust it through his ear unto the door, and he shall be thy servant forever. and also unto thy maidservant thou shalt do likewise. We deep dived into this when it was mentioned in Leviticus. The awl through the ear is a sign that he's willingly giving his life to his master, and it's kind of symbolic of Jesus getting the nails drove into him, willingly giving his life for us. And similarly with the Levites, when they give themselves to the temple, they have to do a similar sacrament or ritual. I don't know if sacrament's the right word here. I think it works. Let me see exactly what sacrament means. I think it's just a religious ritual, right? Sacrament is a Christian ceremony or rite that is considered sacred and significant. Yeah, sacrament works. This isn't Christian, but it is a sacrament. It shall not seem hard unto thee when thou sendest him away free from thee, or he hath been worth a double hired servant to thee, and serving thee 6 years, and the Lord thy God shall bless thee in all that thou doest. All the firstling males that come of thy herd and of thy flock thou shalt sanctify unto the Lord thy God. Thou shalt do no work with the firstling of thy bullock, nor shear the firstling of thy sheep. Thou shalt eat it before the Lord thy God year by year in the place which the Lord shall choose, thou and thy household. And if there be any blemish therein, as if it be lame or blind or have any ill blemish, thou shalt not sacrifice it unto the Lord thy God. Thou shalt eat it within thy gates. The unclean and the clean person shall eat it alike, as the roebuck, and as the hart. H-A-R-T, not H-E-A-R-T. Only thou shalt not eat the blood thereof. Thou shalt pour it upon the ground as water. So more dietary laws, kosher, stuff like that, and dealing with Israelite slaves and giving to your brother is the message in that chapter. Hey, yo, throw it away. You got the wrong kind of mindset. Hold on, Josh. Wait for Thoth to get back. What's up, Chris? Crook. Yosh. All right, chapter 16. Chapter 16 is going to be more feast stuff. So we're running through the feasts again. Promise prophet, laws concerning crimes, punishment for idolatry, and great feasts. Okay. Chapter 16. Observe the month of Abib, and keep the Passover unto the Lord thy God. For in the month of Abib, the Lord thy God brought thee forth out of Egypt by night. Thou shalt therefore sacrifice the Passover unto the Lord thy God of the flock and the herd, in the place which the Lord shall choose to place his name there. Thou shalt eat no leavened bread with it. 7 days shalt thou eat unleavened bread therewith, even the bread of affliction, for thou camest forth out of the land of Egypt in haste, that thou mayest remember the day when thou camest forth out of the land of Egypt all the days of thy life. So the symbolism is, remember, when they left Egypt, they had to flee by night quickly, because all the firstborn kids were killed in the Passover, and Pharaoh was not happy, and he was coming to attack them, so they dipped, and they rushed out so quick that they didn't even have time to leaven the bread. So they just took the dough, and then they were eating unleavened bread. And then the manna came from heaven when they were complaining about not having food. God gave manna from heaven, told them they could only collect it 6 days a week. They couldn't leave it overnight, et cetera, et cetera. It grew on the grass like dew on the grass in the morning. Instead of water dew on the grass, there was bread on the grass. And they would eat that. I don't know what you're talking about, Thoth Mage. That sounds like some I don't know. Sounds like some weird gobbledygook there. You're mixing Book of Enoch stuff with Greek stuff, with pagan stuff. What a mess. And there shall be no leavened bread seen with thee in all thy coasts 7 days, neither shall there be anything of the flesh which thou sacrificest. Sacrificest? That's a hard word to say. Sacrificest. The first day at even, remain all night until the morning. Thou mayest not sacrifice the Passover within any of thy gates which the Lord thy God giveth thee, but at the place which the Lord thy God shall choose to place his name in. There thou shalt sacrifice the Passover at even, at the going down of the sun, at the season that thou camest forth out of Egypt. And thou shalt roast and eat it in the place which the Lord thy God shall choose. And thou shalt turn in the morning and go into thy tents. 6 days thou shalt eat unleavened bread, and on the 7th day shall a solemn assembly to the Lord thy God. Thou shalt do no work therein. 7 weeks shalt thou number unto thee. Begin to number the 7 weeks from such time as thou beginnest to put the sickle to the corn. 7 weeks, is that what Lent is? Because Lent is 7 weeks, right? I thought I used to think Lent was like a month, but we looked into it this month and I think it's 7 weeks. It's almost 2 months. And thou shalt keep the feast of the weeks unto the Lord thy God with a tribute of a freewill offering of thine hand, which thou shalt give unto the Lord thy God, according as the Lord thy God hath blessed thee. And thou shalt rejoice before the Lord thy God, thou and thy son, and thy daughter, and thy manservant, and thy maidservant, and the Levite that is within thy gates, and the stranger, and the fatherless, and the widow that are among you, in the place which the Lord thy God hath chosen to place his name there. And thou shalt remember that thou wast a bondsman in Egypt, and thou shalt observe to do these statutes. Thou shalt observe the Feast of Tabernacles 7 days. After that thou hast gathered in thy corn and thy wine. And thou shalt rejoice in thy feast, thou and thy son, and thy daughter, and thy manservant, and thy maidservant, and the Levite, the stranger, and the fatherless, and the widow that are within thy gates. 7 days shalt thou keep a solemn feast unto the Lord thy God, in the place which the Lord shall choose, because the Lord thy God shall bless thee in all thine increase, and in all the works of thine hands. Therefore thou shalt surely rejoice. 3 times in a year shall all thy males appear before the Lord thy God, in the place which he shall choose, in the feast of unleavened bread, and in the feast of weeks, and in the feast of tabernacles, and they shall not appear before the Lord empty. Every man shall give as he is able, according to the blessings of the Lord thy God which he hath given thee. Judges and officers shalt thou make thee in all thy gates, which the Lord thy God giveth thee throughout thy tribes, and they shall judge the people with just judgment. Yeah. So it's not just that the people of Israel asked for authorities. God gave them authorities before they ever asked for it. Thou shalt not wrest judgment. Thou shalt not respect persons, neither take a gift. For a gift doth blind the eyes of the wise and pervert the words of the righteous. That which is altogether just shalt thou follow, that thou mayest live and inherit the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not plant thee a grove of any trees near unto the altar of the Lord thy God, which thou shalt make thee. Neither shalt thou set thee up any image which the Lord thy God hateth. Yeah, you definitely don't want to do that. I heard God hates this Moloch guy. Let's build a Moloch statue next to the tabernacle. That'd be a bad idea. That would not be smart. Orthodox Baptist? Is that even a thing? What's that? I don't even know what that is. It's long till Easter. Easter is when it ends. Pascha. Ramadan finishes with Eid already. End of this week. No. No what? No, there's no Orthodox Baptist? I know, that doesn't really make sense. All right, chapter 17, punishment for idolatry. See the last verse there in chapter 16 ended with the engraven images? God really does not like these engraven images. Chapter 17, thou shalt not sacrifice unto the Lord thy God any bullock or sheep wherein its blemish or any evil favoredness, for that is an abomination unto the Lord thy God. If there be found among you within any of thy gates which the Lord thy God giveth thee, man or woman, that hath wrought wickedness in the sight of the Lord thy God, in transgressing his covenant, and hath gone and served other gods, and worshipped them, either the sun or moon, or any of the host of heavens, which I have not commanded. Oh, there you go. For the chemetics out there that say the Bible was plagiarized from Ra sun god worship, again, the Bible specifically says don't worship the sun. You worship the sun. You don't worship the sun. I have not commanded. He's gonna say stone him up. And it be told thee, and thou hast heard of it, and inquired diligently, and behold, it be true, and the thing certain, that such abomination is wrought in Israel. Then shalt thou bring forth that man or that woman which have committed that wicked thing unto thy gates, even that man or that woman, and shalt stone them with stones till they die. At the mouth of 2 witnesses or 3 witnesses shall he that is worthy of death be put to death. But at the mouth of 1 witness he shall not be put to death. This is actually currently part of our court system. 1 eyewitness testimony is not enough to convict somebody. I believe. I've always heard this. Let me fact check myself. But I'm pretty sure you need at least 2, preferably 3 eyewitnesses. And court eyewitness testimony is one of the least valid forms of testimony. I'm sure if there's other evidence, then 1 eyewitness would be fine. Here's the problem with jury trials. Yes, a person can be convicted based solely off the testimony of a single eyewitness, provided the jury or judge finds the testimony credible and sufficient to prove the guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Unfortunately, the answer is yes, if the jury believes that 1 witness beyond a reasonable doubt. Of course, your attorney should work hard to discredit that witness by exposing the witness's bias, lack of perspection. Hearsay is not always inadmissible. The question is, this is a question for a lawyer. Isn't it hearsay if there's only 1 witness against me? Then it just becomes hearsay. He said, she said. I say no, you say yes. That shouldn't hold up to court. And I don't think it used to. I don't know if this is a new thing or what, but I always heard that eyewitness testimony was the least valid evidence, because it's just he said, she said. It's me against you. In a 1 witness case, it is extremely important to investigate and prepare a thorough cross-examination of that witness, because the entire case lives and dies based on the credibility of that 1 witness. Lack of preparation can lead to a lying witness appearing like a truthful witness. These cases require experienced attorneys who have conducted many prior cross-examinations and understand the precise and diligent preparation required for a successful cross-examination. He said, she said testimony. Huh. Well, if we're going off the Bible, you would need at least 2 or 3 witnesses. Hola, Shazzy. Depends on the witness. Oh, we stoning the 304s now. One cop can provide one witness testimony. That's lame. It's 10 a.m. here, but no, let's not get bogged down in semantics. The hands of the witnesses shall be first upon him to put him to death. That's interesting too. So if you're a witness, you got to throw the first stone. If you're going to convict this person and you saw them do it, you better be being honest, or else you're going to walk around with that guilt. And afterwards, the hands of all the people. So thou shalt put the evil away from among you. If there arise a matter too hard for thee in judgment, between blood and blood, between plea and plea, and between stroke and stroke, being matters of controversy within thy gates, then shalt thou arise and get thee up into the place which the Lord thy God shall choose. And thou shalt come into the priests of the Levites, and unto the judge that shall be in those days, and inquire, and they shall show thee the sentence of judgment. And thou shalt do according to the sentence which they of that place which the Lord shall choose shall show thee, and thou shalt observe to do according to all that they inform thee, according to the sentence of the law which they shall teach thee, and according to the judgment which they shall tell thee, thou shalt do. Thou shalt not decline from the sentence which they shall show thee, to the right hand nor to the left. And the man that will do presumptuously, and will not hearken unto the priest that standeth to minister there before the Lord thy God, or unto the judge, even that man shall die. And thou shalt put away the evil from Israel. Based. And all the people shall hear and fear to do no more presumptuously. When thou art come unto the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee, and shalt possess it, and shalt dwell therein, and shalt say, I will set a king over me, like as all the nations that are about me. Thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, whom the Lord thy God shall choose. See, what is... I don't want to bring up... What is he... I'm not going to say... I don't want to... So I've heard next VK is going to be funny. I'm tired, fed up. Does that mean okay? What? This is not... The Israelites did not ask for a king first. God told them in Deuteronomy through Moses that when they get to the land, they're going to appoint a king. And before that even happened, God appointed judges and captains and officers over the Israelites. And then he tells them right here, when thou art come into the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee, and shalt possess it, and shalt dwell therein, and shalt say, I will set a king over me, like as all the nations that are about me, thou shalt in any wise set him king over thee, whom the Lord thy God shall choose. One from among thy brethren shalt thou set king over thee. Thou mayest not set a stranger over thee, which is not thy brother. So they do eventually ask for a king. But God told them in Deuteronomy that that was going to happen. And he said, once you're established and you say, we need a king like all the other nations have a king, then I shall choose your king. God chooses the king. So I don't know where... I don't know what nectar is. Nectarine? But he shall not multiply horses to himself, nor cause the people to return to Egypt to the end that he should multiply horses. For as much as the Lord hath said unto you, ye shall henceforth return no more that way. Neither shall he multiply wives to himself. Solomon didn't listen to that. See, God's even setting up rules for the king. They say absolute power corrupts absolutely. Not if you follow God's instructions, not if it's a man of God appointed by God who actually is following God and doesn't, fall to the wiles of women. Because Solomon had a weakness for the ladies too. And he was the wisest there was. I think he was a good king. But he had a weakness. And it became his downfall. Weakness for the ladies. Jess is getting tired of that chat's shenanigans. What chat? Ugh. What chat shenanigans? Like most men, yeah. Maybe Solomon had a spirit of lust. Well, he was building idols for his 600 wives. He was building idols to their gods. Simping hard. You know, all she had to say is, Solomon, can I have an idol to Moloch? I want to kill some babies. And Solomon's like, ooh, I guess so. I got a lot of money. I'll make you a Moloch idol, lady. I'm just assuming because 1,000 women is crazy work. I know, right? Bruh. I can't even handle one. Dang. But he shall not. Oh, I already read that. Neither shall he multiply his wives to himself, that his heart turn not away. Neither shall he greatly multiply to himself silver and gold. See, Solomon didn't listen to that either. So why is Solomon? When we did the Solomon deep dive a long time ago, I always thought Samson and Solomon were the most base people in the Bible, the strongest and the wisest. But when you really look into them, they were both simps. They were both simps. And they both fell to the lady. Every time Jess looks at the chat, what are these people talking about? No, some of the people are all right. Some of y'all are crazy. Joshua is the most based one in the Bible. Besides Jesus, of course. Joseph's pretty awesome too. I think David was pretty base, but he had a weakness for the ladies too. He murdered a guy for a woman. I heard, where did I hear this? Seasal was talking about it on that show you were on, Seasal. I thought it was interesting. You were talking about David wanted to build a temple to God, and God said, "No, you have too much blood on your hands." I was like, dang, I don't remember that story, but it sounds interesting. Was it blood from all the wars he had been in, or was it blood from cutting homeboy's head off? Or both? And it shall be when he sitteth upon the throne of his kingdom that he shall write him a copy of this law in a book out of that which is before the priests, the Levites. And it shall be with him, and he shall read therein all the days of his life, that he may learn to fear the Lord his God, to keep all the words of his law and these statutes to do them, that his heart be not lifted up above his brethren, and that he turn not aside from the commandment to the right hand or to the left, to the end that he may prolong his days in his kingdom, he and his children in the midst of Israel. Sounds like God's giving instructions of how to have a righteous king. Am I doing self-interpretation now? Am I misinterpreting? I'm not interpreting, I'm just reading. But it seems pretty clear to me. Mind you, Israel has not asked for a king. God is telling them this through Moses. He's telling them One day you're going to want a king, and this is what you're going to do. I'm going to choose the king. He's going to do this. He's going to do this. He's going to write in the book. He's going to read the book, and he's going to be a good king. If he doesn't, he's going to be a bad king. Men need to learn resistance. La resistance. Women need to learn to not tell men what they need to do. Shazzy? Dang. Chapter 18. A promised prophet. Is this... I wonder if this is about Joshua or about Jesus. Maybe it's about Isaiah. I don't know. The priests, the Levites, and all the tribe of Levi shall have no part nor inheritance with Israel. Thou shalt eat the offerings of the Lord made by fire in his inheritance. Therefore shall they have no inheritance among their brethren. The Lord is their inheritance, as he hath said unto them. And this shall be the priest's due from the people, from them that offer sacrifice, whether it be ox or sheep, and they shall give unto the priest the shoulder and the 2 cheeks and the maw. What's the maw? Not even a priest knows how to resist. Why you capping, Shazzy? Capping. Don't throw priests under the bus. Some priests are nice. Some priests are decent men. They're not all bad guys. That's propaganda to make people hate religious institutions. I don't priest, but I'm already married. What? What does that mean? The first fruit also of thy corn, of thy wine, and of thine oil, and the first of the fleece of thy sheep shalt thou give him to the Levites, because the Levites got to eat too. They're working for free for God. For the Lord thy God hath chosen him out of all thy tribes to stand to minister in the name of the Lord, him and his sons forever. And if a Levite come from any of thy gates out of all Israel, where he sojourned, and come with all the desire of his mind unto the place which the Lord shall choose, then he shall minister in the name of the Lord his God, as all his brethren the Levites do, which stand there before the Lord. They shall have like portions to eat. They shall have like portions to eat, beside that which cometh of the sale of his patrimony. When thou art come into thy land which the Lord thy God giveth thee, thou shalt not learn to do after the abominations of these nations, of those nations. There shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire. Yeah, that means don't sacrifice your kids to Moloch, people. And I think you could tie that to abortion today. We don't sacrifice. We don't put kids on a golden statue and light them on fire like they used to do. We just do it. We do it more technical now. We do it with chemicals and we do it with instruments and stuff before the baby ever comes out of the womb. And we call it women's health care. You know? Not one among you who let their kids pass through the fire. There shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire, or that useth divination, you witches, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch. Observer of times is like somebody who thinks they see the future. Or they look at the stars and they try to predict the future and stuff. We looked into this a while ago. I've lived 59 years with my morals. I got the facts. I'm older. Shazzy, hold on. Hold on. What the heck? Hey, you're walking away. You got the wrong kind of mindset. And it's helping no one. Hey, you throw it away. I got something for you, Shazzy.
You ain't got the answers, man.
Kanye.
I've been doing this more than you. You ain't been doing the
question.
education.
Bro,
You ain't been doing the education, Shazzy. I'm kidding. No offense, but please stop yelling at everyone. Are you paying attention, John C? We just get stitches. Y'all are crazy. Okay, no enchanters or any witches or a charmer or a consulter with familiar spirits or a wizard or a necromancer. For all that do these things are an abomination unto the Lord. And because of these abominations, the Lord thy God doth drive them out from before thee. Thou shalt be perfect with the Lord thy God. Thou shalt be perfect with the Lord thy God. It's in the Old Testament too. I don't know why we say nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. Why not? What do you mean? It says in the New Testament, Jesus says it. And it says it in the Old Testament. Moses says it, speaking for God. So if God says it, the Father says it, the Son says it, Paul says it, why can't we be perfect? Where'd this idea come that nobody's perfect? We can never be perfect. What's the point of being a Christian then? I'm trying to be perfect in these streets. It's a long road, but I'm working towards it. I know nobody is perfect but God. See, Shazzy's repeating it. Stop saying that. Why would you say that? I don't know where people get that from. It's not from the Bible. It's not from God. It's not from Jesus. They tell us to be perfect. Jesus says, be perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect. God says, thou shalt be perfect with the Lord thy God. I don't know why we always say this. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect but God. Nobody's good but God. But maybe as humans, not being good is part of our perfection. We were made in God's image and can be perfect. I agree. Not only can we, we're commanded to be. We ought to be. Doesn't mean that it happens overnight. Doesn't mean that it's easy. Doesn't mean that. But the first step is not saying that you can't. That's the first step. First step is believing that you can be perfect. Our righteousness is as filthy rags, but Christ makes us righteous. Righteous is perfect. It's perfection. Cussing sometimes does not make you imperfect, you know. Once upon a time. Did you really write it like that? It's once UPON, a time. Not one. It's not a game of chess. Not once upon a time. Please tell me you did that as a joke. Okay. Thou shalt be perfect with the Lord thy God. For these nations which thou shalt possess hearkened unto observers of times and unto diviners. But as for thee, the Lord thy God hath not suffered thee so to do. The Lord thy God will raise up unto thee a prophet from the midst of thee, of thy brethren, like unto me. Unto him ye shall hearken. So is this talking about Jesus, or is this talking about Joshua? Is this talking about Isaiah? According to all that thou desirest, or all of them maybe, of the Lord thy God in Horeb in the day of the assembly, saying, let me not hear again the voice of the Lord my God, neither let me see this great fire any more, that I die not. And the Lord said unto me, they have well spoken that which they have spoken. I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, like unto thee, and will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak unto them all that I shall command him. And it shall come to pass that whoever will not hearken unto my words which he shall speak in my name, I will require it of him. But the prophet which shall presume to speak a word in my name, which I have not commanded him to speak, or that shall speak in the name of other gods, even that prophet shall die. Yep. Where's Muhammad and Joseph Smith at now? They dead. Did you know Joseph Smith ran for president? And he died. He was the only, I think he died while he was a candidate or something. Chris, my brother. Shout out to the fellow Johns. If thou say in thine heart, how shall we know the word which the Lord hath not spoken? When a prophet speaketh, this is more, we did, I think the reason it's not highlighted is because I used my ESV Bible when I did it. But we did, a long time ago, I did an episode where we talked about the requisites of a prophet, because I was having the Mormons come over and I was talking to the Mormons once a week. And then I would stream right after my meeting with the Mormons, and I would tell the stream what we talked about. And one of the first things I use, because when the missionaries come over, I try not to like debate them, but I do kind of like plant little seeds of doubt. They have like their pre-recorded answers, but I try to present it, you know, with the right heart, where I like act, I'm actually talking to them and showing interest in their beliefs, but then I'm slipping in little things like, what do you think about this pearl of great price? What do you think about this mummy thing right here? What do you think about this amulet that they used to put on mummies' heads in Egypt? What do you think about the fact that this book is basically a mixture of Christianity, Native American, Indian stories, and Egyptology? What do you think about Joseph Smith seemed an awful lot like Muhammad? What do you think about the requirements of being a prophet? And then I take them to the Bible, and then we compare it to the Book of Mormon, where all of the reasons that it said Joseph Smith was a prophet and why they have a living prophet. And then I show them these verses in the Bible about requirements for being a prophet, and kind of debunks their idea of Joseph Smith being a prophet. Most of our nation still mummifies their dead. You talking about when they put that juice in them? What's that juice called? Embalming. When they embalm them, you talking about embalming? Embalming. What's that juice? They put it on cigarettes. It's called wet, PCP. Formaldehyde? Is it formaldehyde? Anyway, is that mummification? I guess in a way, embalming is a sort of mummification. I don't know. It depends if the definition of mummification requires wrapping, because we don't really wrap, because we wrap them in a casket. But I think the majority of people nowadays probably do cremation. Do majority of people, that's an interesting topic too. Cremation versus, I should recommend that to Easy, because there's usually a lot of like Christians on the panels on BK, and this is an interesting one: cremation versus burial. Do majority of people get cremated or buried? I'm betting it's cremation. Yep. 60% of people get cremated nowadays. Cremation is more common than burial. We've talked about this on the show before. Were you there when we talked about that, Cecil? I think I came to the conclusion that cremation is not like evil. We used the Bible. We talked about it. And I think I came to the conclusion that cremation is not necessarily like an evil thing, but I don't want to get cremated. I don't want to get cremated. Last thing I want to see when I die is fire. That thing I want to feel is fire when I die. I ain't trying to go nowhere near fire when I'm dead. Hey, shout out to the chair. I want buried. I don't want to deny bugs their dinner of my flesh. Facts. Yeah, I want to help save um the climate because my body will become fossil fuels. It's a renewable resource. A moderately attractive Rome. Cheers to the chair. My family's all buried. Push me to the edge. All my friends are dead. I'm gonna recommend that for easy in the topic suggestions. Cremation versus burial. Because there's moral implications. There's is there something wrong with it? Some people think that like cremation is not good. I'm perfect. I want to be frozen to be brought back. You want to be cryo froze? You would do that? I don't know about all that. That sounds a little too much. That old adage. There's some things that I don't know how to argue against it other than it just gives me the ick when it comes to playing God. IVF, surrogacy, gene altering, Neuralink, space travel, like interplanetary space travel, and digging deep tunnels, like the ones under the pyramids. Amos, I can't wait. I'm going to skip to this because this is relevant due to the pyramid stuff. Amos verse. How is it said? I'm just going to put a rough go to high. I'll bring you down. Dig too deep. Something like if you Amos 9:2, though they dig into Sheol, from there my hand will take them. Though they climb up to heaven, from there I will bring them down. That's Amos 9:2. So this right here, and Sheol, by the way, also called Tartaria, also called the underworld, also called Hades, also called Gehenna, also called Agartha. Did I say Agartha already? The pit, the depths. That's where the dragons are, aka dinosaurs. That's where the giants are. That's where the demons are. And the demons come up onto the surface and they get into people and stuff too. But there's like demons down there. And that's what they were doing in Egypt with the pyramids. They were digging to get to Sheol. And he said, though they dig into Sheol, from there my hand will take them. This is because a flood was coming. And there's two ways to get out of a flood, or so they thought, up or down. So they built giant towers like the Tower of Babel and like the pyramids. And then they would go up to the pyramids to try to commune with their gods, or they would dig very deep tunnels and networks and systems of tunnels in cities underground. There's a bunch of megalithic dig sites where they found these underground networks of cities because they dig and they're trying to get to the powers that are down there. They know there's something down there and they're trying to get down into it. So they dig to get to it, or there's powers above the stars, the powers and the principalities in the heavens. So they build rocket ships and towers and skyscrapers and things like this. They either want to go up or they want to go down to get to whatever the forces that be. And Amos 9:2 says, though they dig into Sheol, from there my hand will take them. Just like the Egyptians, suck them down in. Oh, you want to dig down deep? Let me pull you down deeper. Let me introduce you to my boy Satan. Not my boy, but, we used to be boys. Then he turned out to be a snake, so I kicked him out. Now he lives down here in these depths. You trying to dig down deep? Let me pull you down into there. You trying to fly a rocket to Mars? I'm going to crash you back down to Earth real quick. Raptor tunnels, if you will. Tunnels full of raptors. Well, that could be one of the types of dragon, but yeah, basically. Pretty much, yeah. I could teach a raptor to talk, maybe. They don't have vocal cords, bro. They don't have a voice box. They go, no, wait, that's Chewbacca. I used to be able to do a good Jurassic Park raptor impression, but I don't remember how to do it. It sounds like a retard. They didn't used to be called raptors. They used to be called dragons, but yes, you're right. I agree. Chapter 19. How did they do it? They went. Every noise I make sounds worse than the last one. Sound like Forrest Gump. Your mama sure does care about your education, boy. Gargle speak. Maybe if you IVF, you can get it right. Griffins, possibly. Hey, I'm with it. Griffin sounds like a griffin. Just sounds like it's probably like a seraphim, like angels. I think the griffins were probably just like the reason there's so many stories of griffins and stuff. Were probably just like some sort of angelic being, whereas the demons would have taken the form of dragons, dinosaurs. Yep. Okay, stop. Chapter 19. When the Lord thy God hath cut off the nations whose land, this is laws concerning crimes, whose land the Lord thy God giveth thee, and thou succeedest them, and dwellest in their cities and in their houses, thou shalt separate 3 cities for thee in the midst of thy land, which the Lord thy God giveth thee to possess. So now we're caught up to about Numbers. Now we're going over what they talked about in Numbers about the what they call it, Turok style. Yeah. Thou shalt prepare thee a way and divide the coasts of the land of thy land, which the Lord thy God giveth thee to inherit, into 3 parts, that every slayer may flee thither. This is for the manslaughter, to escape into these cities, the cities of refuge. And this is the case of the slayer which shall flee thither, that he may live. Whoso killeth his neighbor ignorantly, whom he hated not in time past. So manslaughter. If you commit manslaughter, there's 3 places you can go where you'll be safe. Nobody's allowed to touch you. Otherwise, everybody's going to try to stone you to death. And when a man goeth into the wood with his neighbor to hew wood, and his hand fetcheth a stroke with the axe to cut down the tree, and the head slippeth from the helve, and lighteth upon his neighbor that he die, he shall flee into one of those cities and live. You know what's crazy is they would say axes weren't invented yet. People would say axes weren't invented yet. They had axes. I did quite a few of university classes and lectures drunk, and I was fine with it. Bible studies is different. I'm not drunk. You might be drunk. I'm not drunk. I just worked all night and went to the gym, bruh. I'm drinking a dang protein, creatine, mango, coconut, orange juice smoothie. I gotta chew it because my blender's not good enough to cut up all the coconut. Little coconut balls in there. Manslaughter. Somebody has a comedy bit about that. Whose bit was that? Brian Regan? Whose bit was that? Where he's like, they got murder, but what's not as bad as murder is manslaughter. He's like, manslaughter sounds way worse. Think about it. Manslaughter. You got caught for slaughtering a man. Like, manslaughter sounds way worse than murder. What are you talking about, Thoth Mage? What is a Thoth Mage? Even Chair disagrees with JS on the dinosaur thing. Ask it. No, Chair 100% agrees. How many times do you think that a dragon is mentioned in the Bible, Britt? Lest the avenger of the blood pursue the slayer while his heart is hot and overtake him because the way is long and slay him. Whereas he was not worthy of death, inasmuch as he hated him not in the time of past. So if you're out chopping wood and the head flies off your axe and kills your buddy, people are going to want to kill you. So you get to run to one of the 3 manslayer cities to be safe. 56, 76, 34. 12 times in the New Testament. 98. You're just guessing random numbers? Lower. 34. 12 in the New Testament and 22 in the Old Testament. Hated him not in the time past. Wherefore I command thee, saying, thou shalt separate 3 cities for thee, and if the Lord thy God enlarge thy coast, as he hath sworn unto thy fathers, and give thee all the land which he promised to give unto thy fathers, if thou shalt keep all these commandments to do them, which I commanded thee this day, to love the Lord thy God, and to walk ever in his ways, then shalt thou add 3 cities more for 3 beside these 3. That innocent blood be not shed in thy land, which the Lord thy God giveth thee for an inheritance, and so blood be upon thee. But if any man hate his neighbor and lie in wait for him, and you okay, Echo? And rise up against him and smite him mortally, that he die, and fleeth into one of these cities, then the elders of his city shall send and fetch him thence, and deliver him into the hand of the avenger of blood, that he may die. Remember the avenger of blood? I like this. I think we need to bring back the Avenger of Blood. Avenger of Blood is death penalty by one of your family members, your closest male family member. So if you kill me in cold blood, premeditated, out of hate, you murder me, then my little brother gets to murder you. Based. But it's not murder, actually. My little brother gets to justly kill you. And it's justified and it's commanded by God. The Avenger of Blood. Justice. I have copper fit gloves on sometime. Why am I reading this out loud? Chop your own wood and it'll warm you twice. Henry Ford. Okay. Brick is the worst wingman ever. Not 69. At least 5 times. More than 5. You know how old the earth is? It's at least 37 years old. I don't recall Stan Lee writing anything about any Avenger of Blood. I know, he needs to. We need Bible comics. We need to have the Avenger of Blood in there. That's like a superhero. Thine eye shall not pity him, but thou shalt put away the guilt of innocent blood from Israel, that it may go well with thee. Thou shalt not remove thy neighbor's landmark, which they of old times have set in thine inheritance, which thou shalt inherit in the land that the Lord thy God giveth thee to possess it. One witness shall not rise up against a man for any iniquity or for any sin, in any sin that he sinneth. At the mouth of 2 witnesses or at the mouth of 3 witnesses shall the matter be established. See, that's based. We need that in our court system. This one witness mess is nonsense. One witness should not be able to convict somebody. If a false witness rise up against any man to testify against him that which is wrong, then both the men between whom the controversy is shall stand before the Lord, before the priests and the judges, which shall be in those days. And the judges shall make diligent inquisition. And behold, if the witness be a false witness and hath testified falsely against his brother, oh, he gonna die. Then shall ye do unto him as he had thought to have done unto his brother. So shalt thou put the evil away from among you. Okay, so if I accuse you of stealing my lawnmower, and I go to the judge and I say, but I'm lying, and I say, he stole my lawnmower, he owes me $300. It was a $300 lawnmower, he owes me $300, but then they find out that I'm lying and I'm bearing false witness against my brother, then I got to pay him $300. Or, for example, the Me Too movement. If you say, that guy raped me, and he didn't grape you, then he gets to grape you. No, you get sent to prison for grape, because you would have sent him to prison for grape. If you accused him falsely, then you go to prison with the same amount of time and the sexual conviction on your record forever, where you're going to have to knock doors whenever you move to a new town once you get out of prison, as if you were a rapist. I think that's based. I think we need to do that. Kermie. And those which remain shall hear and fear, and shall henceforth commit no more any such evil among you. And thine eye shall not pity, but life shall go for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot. All right, we're going to do one more chapter, and then we're going to wrap it up. Wrap it up. Because that's 6 chapters. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. It's actually 7 chapters. So that's pretty good. Pretty good. We usually do 4 or 5. Do 7 today because I've been gone for a minute. We got to catch up. Plus, I'm done with Deuteronomy. I'm sorry, no offense, Moses, but I'm ready to get out of the Torah. I'm ready to get into Joshua. Inductive and deductive reasoning, I learned. I know what that means. I just can't think of it right now. Inductive reasoning is when it's based off of like your observations. Deductive reasoning is when you, I forget. I used to know that stuff, but I don't remember right now. All right, chapter 20. Laws concerning wars. When thou goest out to battle against thine enemies, and seest horses and chariots, and a people more than thou, be not afraid of them, for the Lord thy God is with thee, which brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. And it shall be, when ye are come nigh unto the battle, that the priest shall approach and speak unto the people, and shall say unto them, Hear, O Israel, ye approach this day unto battle against your enemies. Let not your hearts faint, fear not, and do not tremble, neither be ye terrified because of them. For the Lord your God is he that goeth with you, to fight for you against your enemies, to save you. And the officers shall speak unto the people, saying, What man is there that hath built a new house, and hath not dedicated it? Let him go and return to his house, lest he die in the battle, and another man dedicate it. And what man is he that hath planted a vineyard, and hath not yet eaten of it? Let him also go and return unto his house, lest he die in the battle, and another man eat of it. So if you just got a house, if you just started a farm, you get to go home, because you haven't even got to reap what you sowed. You haven't even got to enjoy the blessings, the fruits of your labor that the Lord has blessed you with. Probably meaning you're too young. You're green. You're green. You're too green. We're gonna send you home. That's based. And what man is there that hath betrothed the wife and hath not taken her? Ooh. Let him go and return unto his house, lest he die in the battle, and another man take her. Oh, dang. So if you just got married, but you ain't, consummated yet, we ain't sending you into battle. You got to go consummate that thing. Otherwise, some other guy's going to slide up in there. That's based. And the officers shall speak further unto the people, and they shall say, what man is there that is fearful and faint-hearted? Let him go and return unto his house, lest his brethren's heart faint as well as his heart. So even if you're afraid and you're like shaking, we're going to send you home, because fear is like a dang virus, and it will spread like a contagion, like a pathogen. It'll spread to the other guys around you. And when you freeze up, they're going to be worrying about you. And then they're going to get afraid. They're going to freeze up. And everybody's going to die. That's based. But look, if you're getting sent home for being afraid, we're going to tighten you up when we get back, boy. Get ready. You're going to be doing some push-ups. And it shall be, when the officers have made an end of speaking unto the people, that they shall make captains of the armies to lead the people. When thou comest nigh, dude, I like this chapter so far. Laws concerning wars. When thou comest nigh unto a city to fight against it, then proclaim peace unto it. And it shall be, if it make thee answer of peace, and open unto thee, then it shall be that all the people that is found therein shall be tributaries unto thee, and they shall serve thee. So when they show up, they give them a chance. They say, hey, you guys can convert, you can follow the one true God, and we won't kill you. You can be our slaves. It's way better. You're going to like it. And I don't know if the year of Jubilee applies to foreigner slaves, but so I don't know. I don't know if these slaves will ever get free, but hey, it's going to be better than being dead. That's for sure. And if it will make no peace with thee, but will make war against thee, then thou shalt besiege it. And this is going to happen when Joshua leads the Israelites to Jericho, and they circle the walls of Jericho for like, I forget how long. I think it's like 7 days. They just walk around blowing their trumpets, which is kind of like a form of warfare in itself. It's noise pollution. It's like Waco when they were playing the dolphin sounds outside Waco. They just walk around the walls for 7 days blowing their trumpets every so often. Nobody can get any sleep. People are like, would you just shut those trumpets up? But what that was God giving them a chance to change their ways, to make peace. But at the same time, not really, because God already hardened their heart, and he knew that they were going to get wiped out. And when the Lord thy God hath delivered into thine hands, thou shalt smite every male thereof with the edge of the sword. But the women and the little ones, and the cattle, and all that is in the city, even all the spoil thereof, shalt thou take unto thyself. And thou shalt eat the spoil of thine enemies, which the Lord thy God hath giveth thee. Thus shalt thou do unto all the cities which are very far off from thee, which are not of the cities of these nations. And see that right there? So this is in the law. But when we get to the battles, we're speaking in, it's a different writer, first off. It's not Moses writing about the battles. This is law. This is Deuteronomical law, Levitical law. And it says, only kill the men. So when they say we killed every man, woman, child, animal, blade of grass, this is hyperbolic battle language. Because we know they didn't actually kill them all, because a few chapters later, they're hanging out with them. So they didn't kill all of them. It's likely they didn't actually kill all of the Amalekites. Well, actually, we know they didn't kill all the Amalekites, because Again, a little while later, there's Amalekites there still. That's hyperbolic battle language, battle talk. We're going to wipe them out. We're going to wipe out every man, woman, and child of the enemy. No, they don't, because there's still people left later on who didn't get wiped out. And right here in the law of how to deal with war, it says, don't kill everybody. They just say they killed everybody because it sounds cool. It's the same way liberals talk about genocide. None of them were genocides. Because there's all the Indians, the Japanese, the small hat people in the H cost. What's going on in Palestine right now? None of those are genocides. You know why? Because there's still those people are left. They're still here. It just sounds intimidating when you say we're going to wipe them all out. Thus shalt thou do unto all the cities which are very far off from thee, which are not of the cities of these nations, but of the cities of these people. Oh, never mind. Ignore everything I just said. No, some of them he does say kill everything that breathes. Whoops, I got a little ahead of myself there. I should have read 2 more verses before I started talking. Thou shalt thou do unto all these cities which are very far off from thee, which are not of the cities of these nations, but of the cities of these people, which the Lord thy God doth give thee for an inheritance. Thou shalt save alive nothing that breatheth, but thou shalt utterly destroy them. Namely, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, the Jebusites, as the Lord God hath commanded thee. Because that's where all the giants live. We talked about it. That's where all those cities are where the Nephilim, the Nephilim, the Ehims, the Anakims, and the Zazumims. Zamzumims. The Zamzumims, the Anakins, the Ehims, and the Nephilims live in these Izite places. The Ims live in the Izites. And we got to wipe them out because these giants are demon spawns. They're out here riding dinosaurs around, building pyramids and stuff. We got to take them out. And that's why there's none left today. That's why we don't see giants. That's why we don't see freaking dinosaurs, because they've all been cast into the pit. The world opens its mouth and swallows them. And that's why there's a big pit under the pyramid. Duh. Dude, it's all coming together. It's all coming together. Okay, so I got a little ahead of myself. Some of them he does tell them to wipe out utterly. So maybe it's not just hyperbolic battle language. Maybe they really did wipe them all out. Either way, it's still based. Some people need to be wiped out. That they teach you not to do after all of their abominations, which they have done unto their gods. So should ye sin against the Lord your God. When thou shalt besiege a city a long time, and making war against it to take it, thou shalt not destroy the trees thereof by forcing an axe against them, for thou mayest eat of them. And thou shalt not cut them down, for the tree of the field is a man's life, to employ them in the siege. Only the trees which thou knowest that they be not trees for meat, thou shalt destroy and cut them down. And thou shalt build bulwarks against the city that maketh war with thee, until it be subdued. Next, we got laws concerning unsolved murder, unsolved mysteries. What do we do about unsolved murders? We got more laws coming up for another chunk of time. Yeah, pretty much the whole rest of Deuteronomy. It is the second law. The Deuteronomicon. the second law. So the great dino purge of Deuteronomy. Menu tonight: steak pie and garlic roast potatoes and veggies. Malachi 3:6, for I the Lord do not change. In Hebrews 10:23, let us hold fast the confession of our hope without wavering. Emphasize God's faithfulness and steadfastness. Genesis 6:6-7, where it says, the Lord regretted making human beings on earth, and his heart was grieved. When that's because that was after Cain and Abel. Yeah, I've talked about that before. In the same way of in Exodus, when God says that he wanted to kill all the Israelites, and Moses said no, and God changed his mind. I don't know. I think they say that it's just Moses was doing intercessory prayer, but I think I lean towards Moses was a flawed man, just like all the men, and he was inspired by God, but I don't think God was like writing through his hand when he was writing, and I think some of it doesn't make sense because I think Moses was thinking a little too highly of himself, that he got God to change his mind. If anything, God was testing him. Total contradiction. Yeah, I don't really care about any of your opinions on this stuff, Freddie, because you're not the sharpest crown in the box, buddy. I just explained it. There's lots of ways to justify it. We will never have anything. It's always lame little, oh, in this gospel it says he's wearing a red robe, and in this gospel it says he's wearing a purple robe. Therefore, the whole Bible's fake. No, dummy. There's lots of different explanations for that. You're quoting books written 1,000 years apart by different people with different minds, different personalities, different writing styles, different languages, different cultures. They could just be saying the same thing in two different ways. But you don't have common sense, so you're going to struggle with that. Your idea is God inspired a flawed man? Yeah. Of course. What do you mean? God inspires lots of flawed men every day. Millions. For all of history. What are you talking about? Is that supposed to is that like a gotcha? Oh, gotcha. Yeah. What do you Freddie's not very bright. This is why I usually time him out during the Bible studies, but we're done for today, so I'm gonna go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's see who I can raid. Who can I raid? Buff is live? Why is Buff live so early? Okay, I guess we'll send you there. We'll send you to Buff. All right, guys. Have a good one. I'll see you tomorrow. Do some more Deuteronomy. Jim Bob. Maybe we'll do Jim Bob tomorrow. Today we're gonna go to Buff's channel. All right. God bless everybody. I'll see you. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.